You got cars downtown like honking at the Italian flags all over the place.
And I personally wouldn't have let Saka take one.
The only defensive error I've seen from England.
And welcome to the 7th episode of our Euros mini-series in Football Lab. England are out. Italy in the final. Italy are champions second time. And we're going to cover the final penalty shoot goal, Italy's goal, and we're going to do a little overview of the tournament as well. So it'll be really good. So let's start with the final itself. Started really well for England, didn't it? We scored in the second minute.
I think it was a great start for England, and it was great that Luke Shaw helped set up the move. Great crossing from Kieran Trippier. No, Kyle Walker. Was it Walker? Yeah, Walker. And great finish. I think that kind of shocked the Italians and rocked them. But I think England didn't build on that goal. They should have tried to go for the second goal. And ultimately, Italy got stronger as the game went on. So I think Italy overall deserved to win, and I think they deserved the tournament as well.
Yeah, I think it was a great start from England, especially scoring in the second minute. That's one of the fastest goals in Euro, if not the fastest. But I was surprised in the second half. Why did England stop pushing? If they pushed Italy more and more, looking for more goals, I think they had a bigger chance of winning it. But with every minute, Italy started playing better, and England couldn't really do anything more. And penalties. When it got to penalties, it's a lottery. Anyone can win that, and England was just unlucky in that regard.
No, Peter, I definitely agree with that. England got off to a really fast start. They got their first early goal. And I think, like what James was saying, like you have to keep pushing, keep fighting, keep going for that second goal. I feel like they scored that one goal, and then I feel like they sort of stepped back, thinking, okay, we got that one goal. We're going to be able to sit on it, and we're just going to play the rest of the game defense. I think even I saw a stat at midpoint during the first half, possession was like 27% England, which is like, I know some teams, they like to do that where they like to stay back and like try to do counters. But against a team like Italy, you can't do that. You can't sit back. They had a lot of weapons. They had a lot of firepower. They should have scored that first goal and then keep going that second, that third, because apparently now in Euro, one goal doesn't win you a soccer game.
No, that one goal is, you can lose that advantage very quickly. So, yeah.
I mean, the goal was in this. The goals have come down the wing and then they've kind of passed it into the middle. The goals against Germany and in the Croatia game, it's the same sort of move where we work down the wings and get the ball in on the ground, and then kind of beat the keeper. But yeah, England started, I agree, really well, but you've kind of got to keep it up. Yeah, if you think in the Ukraine game, you scored really early and went 1-0 up, but it's kind of, goals 4-0, push that on and score means that we're really, it's only one, and it wasn't enough. So I think that's the kind of big takeaway. That's the problem. But I mean, I feel like Luke Shaw as well is a huge player, and he's had a really good sort of tournament. So score in that game, he's now obviously the only England player ever scored in a Euros final. I know he had his I think he'd invited his teacher to the game from school, which I thought was a great touch. Kind of rewarded for this sort of achievement, and he's scored in the final, so that's great.
I was going to say exactly what I agree with you guys. England had Italy on the ropes, so really they should have. It's almost like they had the dagger at their heart and refused to put it in, which they should have done. So I personally think that Southgate has been very defensive ever since those two friendlies before the tournament. Now listen, no bad word about Southgate. He's done an amazing job to get the best out of these players and what we've got at our disposal. But I don't understand why he always plays with the handbrake on and plays so defensive. Like 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 wins. Apart from Ukraine, it was very defensive. When you've got probably the best attacking team in Europe, he should be utilising that. And I don't understand why Grealish is on the bench. Like Grealish started, I don't even know why Jadison didn't even make the squad. We need these two kind of swagger players, these players who are playmakers who can score outstanding goals or outstanding free kicks. We need them there. And we need someone like James Ward-Prowse. Basically, we needed a set piece. If we had a corner or a free kick and a header from Harry Maguire or Harry Kane, could have nicked it 2-1 or something.
Yeah, well, Southgate is to blame for losing this final, I think. But you also have to praise him for taking England into the final after 55 years. England made it to the final. But you question some of the changes. Why did Grealish came in so late? Why did he put Rashford and Sancho for penalties when like 3 minutes before the penalties? So they didn't even have time to warm up. They didn't even play that much throughout the tournament. So they weren't really in form. So there's a lot of questions that I wonder what was on Southgate's mind when he did that. Did he think that would surprise Italy? I don't know.
No, sorry.
Bad decisions, but we got to the final of major tournament for the first time in 55 years. He's the best manager we've had since Alf Ramsey in the 60s. And on the whole, I think his decisions in each game have been spot on. And I know we won a lot of games 1-0, beat Germany 2-0, obviously, but Portugal won a single game until the semi-final in 90 minutes. And got to win games. If you don't win them with it is and get to the final is the best manager. And I know much less than him, if you know. He's a much more impressive manager than anybody could be. I'm not sure what you were going to say, Elias. I'm sorry, I sort of bumped in there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And honestly, I didn't think I saw Rashford play at all, make any appearance this tournament. I think that was probably his only appearance in the entire tournament, and he barely had time to run up and down the field. And boom, they were penalties, and he ended up kicking his penalty and missing. So I definitely agree. It was kind of a weird change. Maybe like you said, he was trying to maybe scare Italy, saying, "Hey, I'm going to bring in three big players and see what happens for penalties." And like you said, penalties, it's anyone can win.
Yeah, that backfired. I think that Roberto Mancini, one of the best managers in the world, and I've always thought that. Like, he went toe to toe with Sir Alex Ferguson, and he did Inter Milan as well. Like, won titles there and Scudettos. Credit to him. I think personally, at half time, he knew that the best they could really do is get the 1-1 draw, and the best they could do is tie England out in extra time and then win on penalties, because Italy are that good. Literally Germany 1990s level at penalties. So he probably thought, we're going to win penalties, absolutely no doubt. And I love how Chiellini is literally like looking so smug at like the halfway line. It's like Mr. I think it's some guy from DC or Marvel. I think it's Dr. Fate or something, where he's got this helmet on and he knows the future. Chiellini knew the future when he bear hugged Jordi Alba. Like, he just knows that Italy are going to win. So I personally think Mancini was smart. He knew that they were going to win penalties. He knew that they were going to win penalties. And I think England, we might have to wait another 30, 40 years for another final. They should have just scored the second goal or gone more attacking, or just put part of the bus like Mourinho behind the goal. Put them in front of the goal so no one scores.
I wouldn't agree with you, James. You cannot know, like, oh yeah, we're going to win the penalties. You never know who will win the penalties. It's lottery. Yeah, there might be some factors.
Chiellini knows. He knows everything.
And another thing is, England has a good squad. Look at what they achieved in the World Cup in Russia 3 years ago. They managed to get to be fourth. This time they were second. In the next World Cup next year, the team is going to be more experienced. And, who knows? Maybe we're going to reach another final. Maybe even win it. It's not out of the question. Definitely not.
See, I'm not sure about that. No, Elias, sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, what I was going to say was that, excuse me. What I was going to say was that England does need to take a little blame on this for penalties, because you literally put Rashford, Sancho, and Saka who are some of your best players, they're normally supposed to take those penalties like it's nothing. Like those misses were mistakes, like Rashford going off the post, but you know, Saka hitting the wrong side. You know, there's some blame, but I don't think all the blame goes on them. But I do feel that they should have been maybe brought in a little bit earlier into the game, so they have at least time to get used to the setting and get their legs going.
Yeah, but yeah, if you looking at blaming people, Harry Kane. What did Harry Kane do during this final? He was absent for me.
I agree with that 100%. He wasn't visible. I didn't see anything from Harry Kane this past game. Unlike the past 2 games England played, Harry Kane was like he wasn't even there.
Hey, it's a bad idea putting people on. It's quite a people do a lot, like in the World Cup in 2014, Holland, I remember, actually another goalkeeper penalties because he was a better keeper. It was Tim Krul, and they won penalties, and everybody was saying the manager was like whereas now the other way, and if Sacco was left instead of right, people have been saying, well, Southgate yes, and what an amazing decision. So it all sort of fall toss of the coin. It's not really a game of tactics and penalty shootout. It's almost luck, I think, where you just don't know. And England are now.
I think we're also have to consider how good Luigi Donnarumma is. Like, he's so good. He's 22, so he could probably become one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Like kind of Iker Casillas, Oliver Kahn, Emmanuel Neuer kind of level. He's that good. And literally, Luigi Buffon, he's the kind of the heir of the other Luigi.
Generally, yeah.
Literally, he's a monster in goal. Like, okay, Pickford saved the Jorginho effort, but Donnarumma, not much gets past him.
I think Pickford played well in that final, but yeah, Donnarumma is definitely a great keeper, one of the best probably in the near future right now. And you have to give it to Italians; they played well in the defense, but Italy lost conceded more goals than England throughout the tournament. England only conceded 2, and to be fair, that Italian goal, it was kind of lucky as well. I think there was a defensive error. Probably the only defensive error I've seen from England throughout the tournament was probably when Italy scored. There was like too much of chaos, and the ball should have been cleared way before, and it was just bouncing around Pickford, and Bonucci was just lucky to be there, and that was basically an empty net.
Actually, I think their goal, Italy's goal, it was sort of a bit lucky where it was almost like a scrap at first, and it happened to be Bonucci, and that was it. So, but I guess the only thing I'd say is that if they didn't score then, it'd be much more kind of urgently attacking our goal in the last 20 minutes. So, yeah, they might not score there, but also the game is different if they don't score, and then they might have scored again. But I do feel he could have brought on Grealish earlier. I do sort of agree with that. He's a good player, and he created against Germany. So bringing him on a little bit earlier might have been a good decision. But I think on the whole, South Africa's got a lot to be proud of, and all the players have as well. But I think we can talk sort of specifically about penalties as well. I want to sort of say, I mean, players do often sort of practice, have often sort of a research on which way players will go, but it's always been like a sticking point for England penalty shootouts, and a lot of tournaments we go out on penalties. I wonder why that is, or what people think about England's record on penalties.
Well, last time was in the World Cup, England won in penalties against Colombia. So, it's not always like that. And I know that England usually loses the game in penalties, but this time I think it's the manager's fault for putting players that were not even in form. They only played like 3 minutes. Why didn't Grealish or Sterling step up to score a penalty? And then afterwards, Rashford, Saka. Yeah, I think that's the manager's fault here.
Thing is, I think that Rashford, obviously, at Man United, he bangs them in. And really, I think that if he had scored, it would have been 3-1, and that would have exerted pressure on Italy. So when that Harry Maguire one went in for 2-1, everyone probably thought England's going to win this. So I think that was, again, a missed opportunity. Just like it was a missed opportunity when Pickford saved that Jorginho penalty. And I personally wouldn't have let Saka take one. I mean, yes, Jose Mourinho says he's a 19-year-old kid. True, you want someone more experienced in this high-pressure situation. But me personally, like Saka had a great tournament, surprise pick in the squad, played well in every game. I didn't think he played well in the final because literally Grealish skilled everyone out, set him up to cross it in, and he just bundled it out. So for me, I thought he seems a bit nervous in this final. So I wouldn't have made him take a penalty. But, at least he had the balls to take one. But it is what it is.
The only thing you can say, you learn from mistake. You learn from losing. So, he can only learn, and he's still very young.
I was actually texting my good buddy who was covering the Euros for TSN, which is the sports station that was covering the Euros in Canada. And he goes, honestly, it's a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen. You think you're up, and in 2 minutes, it's the score completely flops on the other side. So it's really, like what Peter said, it's a gamble. It's your gambling. But I agree. The management, maybe he should have took players again. Why didn't Sterling take a kick? Why didn't Grealish take a kick? Like, I understand he wanted to get star players out there, but they hadn't played, and they literally played 2 minutes running up and down the field. So that's my personal take on penalties.
I think as well, it's important to say that Sancho's record at Dortmund is actually really good. I think he's taken 2 this last season and scored them both. So
I think you're muted, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, we can hear you.
Yeah, Chris, we can't hear you.
or what? But you guys carry on without me if you can't hear.
Yeah, I just saw the anyways. So actually here in Montreal where I am, it was pretty crazy. I heard we actually have a little Italy here in Montreal, and what my friends were telling me, like, it was going crazy. Like, you had cars downtown like honking, you had the Italian flags all over the place. Like, people were going crazy, and that's what I was told basically.
Yeah. What about how the fans behaved?
Oh, I want to take a minute on behalf of all of us to really condemn what happened yesterday, because after the game, Marcus Rashford, Saka were basically insulted on social media. People were using racial slurs against them for having lost that game, and that is something that honestly doesn't belong in the sport. The UEFA always preaching respect, and there should be a zero tolerance policy. And the news broke out that the police are actually investigating it, so I don't know exactly what comes out of it, if they end up finding the person who did it or the people who did it. But really, just because your team lost a game, you can't go after that person and start, insulting them, being, racism.
Yeah, go on, Alex. Sorry.
Racism, because again, like we're not there yet, but we're trying to build an all-inclusive world that has gender equality, racial equality. Like, it's something we can't stand for, and honestly, I don't condone it at all.
Yeah, especially you have to support your team when you win, but also when you lose. That's the important fact, and not start going against your teammates. Well, your players, as a fan, who, when they lose, they did best they could. They went into a final, that's respectful enough for me. There's no excuse for calling anyone out, It's absolutely primitive behavior.
And I saw some shocking video actually at Wembley Stadium. There was like massive fights, like big groups of people fighting, and apparently there's this video where an older man actually face punched a kid who was just walking by out of nowhere. and apparently there was an Asian guy who ended up getting shoved and kicked in the head 3 times. So just imagine that, like it's just shocking how you get that type of reaction. Like I understand English, they're passionate football fans, I get it, but to take it to that point, it's
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly, and yeah, basically like I was shocked when I saw it on social media. I was surprised. It caught me off guard a lot.
You guys can hear me okay now? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
And sadly, sort of more recently, have banana skins thrown at them. It was so awful. And I thought we were sort of past that really, but obviously we're not. And it's carrying on. And people who support when they win and when they lose, as I'm concerned, these people aren't England supporters or England fans. They're people who are doing the team much more harm than good. Supporters are people who support the team and get behind them.
I also heard that some of the English fans trampled the Italian flag. So that's another thing that should be going on. The booing, the anthem happened second time.
Yeah. I think that
I think the FA, the English FA, has to do something about the fans right now and ban them for life. If they tries to identify them. I know it's going to be very difficult, but try to identify as many as possible and ban them for life to coming to any games.
Yeah, I think name them and shame them. So if the media name these people, and it's like hopefully pubs can ban them and just say, you're not welcome at Yates pub, you're not welcome at.
Yeah.
I don't want to name places, but you're not welcome at any of these pubs. And hopefully we'll know exactly who's said what on social media because, I actually didn't realise last night, I probably should have thought about it. I didn't realise that these 3 players missing penalties was going to end up with them being racially abused. Like, I just thought, we lost on penalties, that's it. So it's crazy they associate their skin colour with them missing a penalty when...
It's not different if Harry Kane would have missed.
Easy to score. Yeah, exactly. So...
Yeah, it's true. I realized Harry Kane didn't shoot. Why?
No, he did shoot.
He did? Sorry, I might have...
Chris, you can't hear.
You said he didn't score against Denmark, Elias?
Oh, no, sorry, I got confused. It's fine, sorry.
I think he scored his penalty, unless I'm wrong. He took the first round, then Italy missed, I think.
Yeah, Belotti missed.
I think Elias means that Kane didn't score against Denmark and no one moaned at him or was racist to him.
Oh, yeah, maybe. But, he did kind of the rebound, and that helped him. But still, I don't think he would be so attacked if he missed that penalty. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
People are just cynical in this country. Like they're just ruthless. Like you make one mistake and they just come at you like a ton of bricks, and it's just like, okay, we shouldn't be so harsh. This is people acting bad behind a computer screen. So. They're acting bad behind a computer screen, but it's like, would they say that in real life to Marcus Rashford? No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, definitely. And it's only football, you make a mistake. It's not a reason to call someone, offend them, and especially ridiculous.
A bit now about where England sort of go from here. There's a bit of a better spell for England, I think. If you think of getting to the semi-final of the World Cup in Italy in 1990 and then Euros in 96, there was always like a drop after that. If it was in 2018, England have sort of held it on. So where does everyone think England sort of go from here? How are we going to do in the World Cup in Qatar?
I just want to start with, I think England were very fortunate this tournament because they played a below par Germany. They played a Germany that knew that Joachim Löw was leaving. They didn't perform that well in the group stages, apart from that high scoring win against Portugal. Then Ukraine was their draw for the quarters. If they drew someone like Belgium, they would have got knocked out there and then, I think. So they were lucky in that regard, lucky against Denmark, obviously, with the penalty and the penalty rebound. But so they're kind of fortunate to make the final, but they did obviously play a good tournament with a good defensive record. I think personally it's going to be hard to come back from this it might take a few years, because if you look at it, Italy reached the final of Euro 2012. It's taken them 9 years to get back. Holland reached the semi-final, the final of the World Cup 2010, or the semi-finals in 2014. And where have they been? So, yeah, I personally think that if England can host the 2030 World Cup, that might be their best chance in 9 years' time. The next 3 or 4 tournaments, they might just get last 16 quarterfinals. But this really was a golden opportunity. So I'm not sure, really. I think Southgate is tired because it's quite draining for him. So I think he's going to leave after the World Cup, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know about. Well, I know that Southgate wants to at least be the manager for the World Cup. I don't know what will happen after, but he deserves to be. He still deserves to be the manager. What he did. He's the best manager since '58 at least for England. I'd kind of disagree with you, James. I think England will be even stronger in the next World Cup. We're going to be a more experienced team. I also think that there will be difficult matches because there will be other teams like Brazil, Argentina. The South American teams are also pretty difficult to play against. But I think that the team's going to be more experienced and they still can dream of winning the World Cup. Definitely, England's going to be up there as one of the teams who can do it.
You're saying the teams are not as well, but France got the final of Euro and then won World Cup 2 years later. So maybe that'll be an impact. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not in the UK or even in Europe. It's in a different of the world, and it's going to be in December. So I'm not sure what impact that will have on our players. That will favour players who play in sort of less intensive leagues. A lot of our players are in like 4 sort of competitions in the whole year, and they have a lot of games. So maybe it will not help them, but I'll have a summer off next year, and they can rest a bit more. So hopefully that'll make a difference. But I'm hoping that Southgate stays a long time. But it is true that it's not a job that you can hold sort of forever. But I think if we win the World Cup, you might well leave. If we don't, you might want to stay on until 2024 and see another Euros and try and win a tournament. I feel like it is sort of within reach now.
Well, me personally, if I can add my 2 cents. This is probably one of the biggest blows. England playing a Euro Cup final at home in front of their home fans, and for them to lose the way they lost, it's going to be a big blow. This is where really your mental game is going to have to come into play. The players are going to have to quickly, I know it's going to be hard the next couple of weeks, a couple of months, but they're going to have to flush it out and remember, be like, okay, we need to move on and we need to focus on 2022 in Qatar. Because if it sticks with them, if that mental image sticks with them, I think, honestly, they won't have the confidence, they won't have the mental strength to really go. And this is not a Euro Cup, this is a World Cup. Like you said, there's teams from South America, there's teams from Africa, there's teams from, Asia, Australia. You have some really, really good teams that are really going to challenge you other than the big European teams. So, I mean, now they have a year to prepare, something like that. And, to get over it and focus on the future.
So, sort of wrap up, we can go back to the start of the tournament. We did our predictions, and a certain person, not all of us were. I said France would win, but you said Italy, I think, Pete. So you got it spot.
Yeah, I said it before the first game that I thought Italy would win because I saw them how well they were organized and played in the Nations Cup, is it called? Nations League. And I thought they can do something great. I did make a couple of mistakes, like Turkey. I thought Turkey is going to be the dark horses, and they were a disappointment. But I'm glad that I got Italy right. It's a shame I didn't bet on it. I could have made some money.
The famous one you got wrong was the England-Scotland, the 3-0.
Oh, yeah, I said England will beat Scotland 3-0, and that didn't happen.
Hey, for Scotland to hold England to 0-0 is a win for Scotland, I think.
Yeah.
That's just a it's a mere footnote. No, that Scotland did really well, to be fair. I'll say that I said Italy in the group stages were going to go on to win because I'm just playing with that confidence and a swagger. So, faithful match, I think they deserve it. And to go to the cauldron of Wembley, to play, to go down in the second minute and play against literally 60,000 people supporting the other team, and play the penalties at the England goal, they deserve it. Like, they played the best tournament. They were tactically smart. Beat Spain on penalties, back-to-back in England on penalties. So, yeah, I think they deserve it. And it's a bit annoying about Bonucci and singing that it's coming Rome, and then all the Italian players baiting English fans in the English team. But that's what you get when you're arrogant and you sing that song. And it's almost like, hang on a minute, there's another team here like Denmark, there's another team here like Italy. They're playing as well. They want to win as well. So it's a little bit disrespectful. So I could see why he bantered them back. So, yeah, well played to them.
Or it's like arrogant or disrespectful. I think it's cheek. Whenever I've sung it, I'm not actually thinking England are going to win. It's just a bit of like a fun song singing in my mind. I mean, teams always, club teams often sing like with the greatest team, but it's a bit of a joke because like Oldham Athletic sing that, but they're obviously not the greatest team in the world. So I think it's a bit of a sort of, it's tongue in cheek. It's just a catchy song people get behind, and maybe we worked. I don't know. Next World Cup, but what do people think the sort of the tournament was? A lot of the sort of players who were picked to be sort of the stars were sort of didn't really stand out. Ronaldo didn't go past the sort of earlier stages, and same with Lukaku and French obviously, and Pogba and Mbappe. A lot of them sort of went out early. So I'm not sure who you guys think was the sort of player of the tournament, whether it's Sterling or an Italian player.
Yeah, I think for the tournament, for England, I think Grealish was really he surprised me, and also Sterling. Maybe not in the final, but throughout the tournament, I think Sterling was better than Kane. For Italy, I think Jorginho was definitely a key player, and Donnarumma saved Italy a lot.
Yeah, I think Jorginho played amazing. Obviously, that penalty against Spain was world class, almost like the Pirlo Panenka against England. That's how he rolled the ball into the net. Yeah, like Pete said, Donnarumma, Chiellini, Bonucci. To be fair, I think Maguire had a good tournament as well. He was a rock at the back for England. And to be honest, he wasn't that fit, and then he played his way into the team and his fitness.
To be fair, I thought that Italy will crumble because they are more like an older team, and England will have more energy. And with time, Italy would like start slowing down, and England would still keep their levels. But it didn't happen. So Italy definitely.
Oh, the Patrick Schick was quality. Schick was quality to get 5 goals and the golden boot with him. And Dolberg was good.
Schick, yeah, I agree with Schick, yeah. Dolberg.
I thought that the right back was good for Holland. Denzel Dumfries was good.
Yeah, but they went out really quickly, so they don't deserve it.
What did you guys think of Ronaldo?
He scored 2 goals from penalty, didn't he, against France? So
yeah,
easy goals. But I think he was good. Again, I think Portugal was way better than Belgium.
Yep.
So that was kind of lucky for them.
So
I think they played an underwhelming tournament, I think.
Yeah, Portugal, yeah. And I would say even Belgium, I expected better from Belgium. When I saw them playing like that against Portugal, I was disappointed in Belgium. I thought they were going to be like really going there to win the tournament. But after that game, I knew, there's no chance for them.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's going to happen with players like Ronaldo and Messi? Are they planning to carry on another year now? Bonucci and Chiellini, are they giving up or are they carrying on?
I think Ronaldo and Messi will play in the next World Cup. Bonucci and Chiellini, I don't know. Chiellini probably, he's like 36. He might be thinking of retiring. But if you think there's only 1 year, it's next year, so they might still keep. That winning that final might motivate them to playing of the last tournament, the World Cup, but we shall see what they decide.
It's mad that they're both kind of, Ronaldo's a bit older, I think. They're both kind of top level, world class footballers. They've both been kind of world class since 2004, is when Ronaldo sort of first came onto the scene. So I think they can both go for another sort of 18 months. I mean, certainly this season there'll be star players, I think, and then it's only kind of 5 months after that. So I think they'll both be star players in the World Cup.
And well done to Argentina, by the way. I think that
Yeah, Copa America.
might be big news in Canada for Elias that Argentina won the Copa America for the first time since 1993, and Lionel Messi at the fourth time of asking. And to think he nearly retired from international duty. So Messi and Ronaldo have won 2 big titles in world football, but obviously not the
And the
World Cup.
fact that he beat Neymar in the final only like makes it bigger. I feel no.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I don't like it. I don't like how Neymar plays. He's too much of a crybaby.
I agree, 100%. I spent like 5-6 months in Paris, and my brothers always used to put on the PSG games, and the guy is such a like you said, he's soft, so like you barely touch him, and like he's doing his Italian antics out, you know.
Yeah, that's just over exaggeration. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but I think we're gonna sort of wrap up now, call it a day. This is our last episode of the series, so James and Pete will be back in about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm going to be back for the podcast on things and let them shine and spread their wings, and I'm sure they'll do really well sort of without me. But for the time being, I'll be taking a bit of a step back, and it will just be James, Pete, and hopefully some radio guests for a great sort of Premier League season. So thank you all for listening over this sort of past 2 or 3 months or so, and we'll see you again in about a month's time. See you there.
See you guys. Bye bye.
See you guys.